housing. That's another. They can't go into public housing. So what do you have to do? Go to a shelter? Which is, I'm here to tell you, that is just another form of prison on the outside.
And you're lucky if you get a bed there anyway.
I'm here to tell you that it's very challenging with people coming out of prison. We need the support. We need speakers like Senator Montgomery to advocate, because reentry in today's world is very challenging for people that now education has been taken away from them. So it's not like the day we can come out and get a master's and pursue that and go out and get some job. Now people can barely go for GED classes. So here's somebody who may be 25, 26 that comes out, has a GED, that has to go out there and compete for a minimum wage job. Provided that you get it, minimum wage. And I'm here to tell you, a minimum wage and housing, they don't seem to go together because you can't afford it. Brooklyn, how many here from Brooklyn? Brooklyn is becoming a new village. You talk about gentrification to the 20th degree? My program is in Ocean Hill, Brownsville, where Latrice was actually left. Okay, I'm in our district. And I'm here to tell you it's a big push too, because everybody that couldn't afford Williamsburg is now coming to Bushwick. If you can't afford Bushwick, now you're coming into Ocean Hill. The train station got a makeup. Brogan Junction looking a little fancy now. Rockaway Avenue train station. And I'm looking at this. This is not coincidental. And the market rates are going up, and people are being pushed out. So imagine somebody coming out of prison with $40 in their pocket and told to go get a job and go get housing.
Thank you, Caesar. Kyle, you're currently on parole. You were released a year ago, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on this matter.
Well, first I want to say thank you to Ms. Montgomery for allowing me to be here.
Oh,
Thank you, Jason. Well, basically, I have to agree with Caesar. It is difficult. It's overwhelming. You come home from being in an environment to where you're worrying about your day-to-day survival to now learning how to transition back into normal society, going by society rules. So when you do get that $40, when you do get that bus ticket and you're on your way home, you're trying to figure out, how do I pick up where I left off? I got incarcerated in 2010. I spent 3 years on Rikers Island fighting my case. And I used to see a lot of guys on parole coming back for violations. I'm like, wow, like it's more people coming back on violations than new crimes. So it's already intimidating. Like, how can you function if you're just getting violated for, I missed curfew, I can't find a job, I need help, I have a drinking problem, I'm stressed, this is overwhelming. It's like you don't have nobody to turn to because, again, you're labeled, you're an ex-offender, you're ex-con. So you feel like the odds is already stacked against you. And you might get a parole officer who thinks that they're a CO, who thinks that, you know, you're still in jail, you're in my jail now. You're not in Clinton, you're not in downstate, you're not in Auburn, you're in my jail. So whatever I say, go. If you're not home at 9 o'clock, I'm going to violate you. People pull emergency brakes on a train every day. Or what if my manager says I need you to work late? How can I tell my manager, yo, I can't work late because I'm on parole? Now they're going to find somebody that could do that job. This is a business. So now what? I'm forced to not work? You're going to force somebody to turn back to the street. You're forcing people to do what they have to do to take care of their family.
That's
You've
right.
been away so long to where you couldn't provide for your family, and you want to do it the right way, but there's no way to help you. You can't talk to your parole officer because they may come across as, I don't want to hear it. Do what I say, this is what I need done, and that's it. If you can't abide by it, you're going back. It's like the odds are stacked against you. So, I mean, when I hear that number, it's kind of discouraging. I've been home a year, thank you, because I do have a strong support system. I was fortunate to have an education before I went to jail, so I already had those type of tools with me. Like I said, I built a lot of bridges and I didn't burn bridges, but what about the guys that don't have nobody? What about the people that doesn't have nobody waiting for them on the outside of that gate? What about somebody that has to report to a shelter? The whole purpose of reentry is to detox from being in prison. you can't be reminded every day of where you came from because you're just making me who I am. You're just reinforcing that subconsciously. You know, you're making me feel like I'm a prisoner, so that's how I'm going to act. And you can't act like that in today's society. So I feel like it definitely has to be some type of change to where maybe parole officers could be more like social workers in the sense of
More human.
we can talk. It could be hands-on. Like, listen, this is what I need. I need some guidance. I need to know where can I go to do this? How do I go about doing this the right way without feeling like if I can't come to talk to you, then what? So, I mean, it's definitely good to be here to express that and to be the voice for people that I know that deal with this on a day-to-day basis. And it is a scary feeling every day when you leave out your house or when you do go to parole or rushing to get home or making sure that you meet that parole date. So it's like, again, whatever could be done, I hope that it happens.
Thanks, Kyle.
No problem.
I just want to add a piece that before we get to the reentry piece. A couple of months ago, the New York Times did a very scathing report on the New York State Parole Board. The reason why I want to bring this up is because people of color are more likely to do more time than anybody else. So what does that mean? That systemically, I will do more time. By doing more time, that prison value system gets embedded and reinforced, and it's harder for me when I get out to make that change because I'm more likely to get hit at the parole board. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but parole board members are appointed for life. It's almost like, kind of like, resembles the United States Supreme Court where you get an appointment for life by the government. So, and the parole board has become an extension of the judge and the DA, except it's behind the wall. So it's an extension of the judicial system under the umbrella of pre-release, or we're going to release you. But most time, people are doing unnecessary time because they don't feel somebody, quote unquote, is rehabilitated.
Jason, can I one thing?
Don, I don't want to. I need to get to. Caesar just touched on something really important, and that's the New York State Parole Board.
Exactly.
So I'm going to read a quote from the article that you're actually, referencing. Commissioners, as board members, are often called. They often read through files to prepare for the next interview as the inmate speaks. The whole process is run like an assembly line. They hear cases just 2 days a week and see as many as 80 inmates at a time. Board members are mainly from upstate. They tend to have backgrounds in law enforcement rather than rehabilitation. So, obviously, Donna, if you want to chime in on that.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I think it's really important to understand that, and one of the things that we're fighting for is to get a parole board that looks like a jury of our peers, and a jury of our peers are people in this room. And I think we can mirror what's happened with the New York City Board of Corrections itself, that has put, a person who's formerly incarcerated on their board. I think that that's important because, if you look at us, you would never know that we spent time. I spent 27 years. Teresa, you wouldn't know that. We are just like you. Things happen, situations happen. And I think it's really important. I know there's somebody in this room now who didn't know me as a person, just knew me as a file. And I'm more than that. We're more than that. And so we have to figure out a way how we see people as individuals and what happens before, during, and then what can possibly happen after. We can't keep, and we shouldn't keep, integrally and morally, keep focusing on a crime that had happened, especially if it was 30, 20, 15, 40, 50 years ago. It makes no sense. You're coming into a system already with this punitive mentality, and you don't want to let it go. So you're saying nobody has the capacity to change. We're pieces of, already, so you can't even see further than that. So if that's how you feel, and I beg you to look at yourself and say, why do you want to have that position? Why do you want to go into something like that and put people's lives in that kind of, it's torturous. It's just cruel, and it's wrong.
Thank
Pay
you.
is very good.
Mike, run the figures again.
I just wanted to acknowledge someone who we haven't acknowledged yet. Assemblymember Tremaine Wright. If you please stand up.
Bed-Stuy, would you say that, please?
Bed-Stuy. Anybody from Bed-Stuy here? Okay, Teresa. You've done a lot of work on Ban the Box. Show of hands, who knows what Ban the Box is?
Right here.
Okay.
This is an educated group.
So if you could just explain why Ban the Box is such an important issue.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm originally from Oregon. I just recently relocated to New York in October. So in Oregon, I worked extensively on the Ban the Box campaign. And what went through at the Oregon state level was kind of watered down. But for me, the most important, I mean, it's great to have it. And if you don't know what Ban the Box means, it means that when you go in to look at when you go in to apply for a job, people are no longer asked to mark that box. Because I don't know if any of you have thought about it. I mean, going in to apply for a job is really nerve-wracking anyway, but when you have that box there, the shame and everything that comes up with that, and you know, so a lot of jobs I didn't even apply for because I didn't want to have to say that, even though, and also it's changed in that it used to be, have you been convicted in the last 7 years, 3 years, whatever. Now it's, have you ever been convicted? So in Oregon, we were able to remove that off until the conditional offer of employment. And what that does is it kind of opens up where people were hoping if people are vested enough to, once you've hired somebody, that you feel they're a good match, that you'll accept it. And for me, I kind of have mixed feelings on if it's really working yet or not. It's kind of, we're starting to find that we're starting to kind of get some backdoor ways that people are actually now that they can't ask, they're less likely to interview people that are of color because they just assume they're more likely to have a criminal history. So there's kind of that thing. But for me, what it did is it really opened up the conversation because people weren't thinking about it. And I don't think they were really understanding because one of the things they're saying is, and like talking about conditions for parole, one of your conditions is you have to find employment. Well, how can you have to find employment if you can't find employment? I mean, it's impacted me horrifically. We talk about my crime, not justifying, but my crime was to finance my education so I could try and improve my, I was living in poverty. I wanted to improve my, being able to get a job. Within 15 months of being released, I reunited with my children. I found full-time employment and I graduated college and I was released from parole early. Well, that sounds great, but even with a college degree, I couldn't find employment. So I went back, I got my master's. And me, I wasn't real bright. I got my master's in criminology and criminal justice. And I found that people in criminology and criminal justice really don't want me.
Really?
What I was told is I would side with them. So it's kind of been an eye-opening experience, and you know, and like I said, I'm glad that things are improving. Right now, people are kind of thinking about it, but I think it's just the beginning. And we really need to, because places still aren't hiring. We have a lot of great reentry programs that are getting people employment ready, but we still don't have places that are willing to hire people. And what are we going to do with that? I mean, it's amazing to me how far, and even like thinking about it, like this is the first time they've had a panel of formerly incarcerated people. What the hell? How is it?
Thank you, Senator.
Yeah, I mean, and thank you, but why has this taken so long? Why has our voice been silenced for so long? We're the experts. We know what we need.
Nothing
and for
about
me
us
to
without
still
us.
be keeping told that you're not the, and I'm still being told it even since I've come to New York. People still don't really want to hear me. They only want to hear me in certain things. And to say that reentry is working and that we have all this stuff. We need to quit with reentry is great, but reentry is harm reduction. We need to quit sending people.
Come on.
Before, because it's torturous. I mean, the things that we had to go, I wasn't real bright either. I went out of state to commit my crime. So I didn't see my children for 13 months. One of the reasons I was sent to prison is because I was told I abandoned my children. And so we need to think about those things and what that does to us and talk about as women especially, I was another person, same thing, victimized from a very young age. And then we expect us to come out and do everything okay. I don't know, I thank you for listening to us, but there needs to be a lot more.
Thank you, Teresa. Wait, hold on, Sue. She just touched on something really important, that's keeping families together during this tough time, especially parents with their children. So when you re-enter society, having family support is a great resource. And in order to keep that connection close, you have to see your family while you're inside. Kyle, I'd like to kick it to you. You have a daughter. Can you please speak on that?
Well, that's a major part for everyone that's incarcerated. That's a part of, your punishment is being away from your family. But communication is definitely the key for both sides to help your kids not to become where you're at and just to help you mentally get through where you're at. So, some facilities offer trailer visits, which, in turn, if you behave good, if you behave well, and you're married and you have kids, that they could come spend time with you you have like 48 hours. It's like a program that keeps family in touch. But sometimes families is far away. Sometimes you're 8-9 hours away from your family, or you're in another state, you're in another city, and you can't have that. Or sometimes you're not married, or sometimes you don't have a mom to bring your kids. And visits is few. It's not every day, and God forbid something happens in a prison where you have a visit that day, and now the jail is locked down, so your family can't see you. The jail, there's no entry, so that's frustrating. So I was discussing with Jason before that, what about, we pay all this money for phone calls. It's like $1.60 for 15 minutes. And why not allow people to have FaceTime your kids, where you could read to your kids at night, or things like that, to where you could feel like I'm still doing my part as a parent as much as I can. Because it hurts that you can't provide and be there when they need you the most, but allowing you to do that, and that allows hardened criminals to, that's a soft spot. Their family is a soft spot for anybody. That's just human nature. So when you keep someone from their family, what do you think happens? It breeds hate, it brings anger, and a whole lot of other things that we don't want to deal with. So as far as visits is always good, but again, parents can't make it. Sometimes your kids can't make it. Sometimes people don't want to bring kids into a facility like that. They don't want to have them go through the things that they have to go through to get in the facility. So I feel like talks need to be discussed on how can it be better to keep the branch between people that's incarcerated and their families a lot tighter. So when they do get home, the support and bond can be there, because it is a lonely feeling if you don't have that.
Thank you, Kyle. How much time are we looking at right now? I want to get to questions, I think, from the
Right, you
audience.
want to get
People
to
have questions, so.
Yes. Can I
Can I-
just